Alrighty, let's get stuck into the next lesson of Year 7 Humanities. This is week 2 now of Year 7 Economics, and we are looking at the first learning task of economics, first learning task of term 2. I say learning task, but it is it's a mini learning task, so don't freak out. Lesson plan here I'm looking at for 7F3, 74 to be the same, just a different date. So I'll explain what the lesson plan is all about, go through the slides, I'll show you guys an example of what the learning task might look like, and I'll also show you guys a little bit of information on how to use Google Classroom, hopefully. Anyway, so what we're looking at today is developing our knowledge of key concepts and constructing a visual glossary of economics terminology. Success criteria is to complete the economics visual glossary learning task, identifying, defining, and demonstrating understanding of key economics terms. Lesson activities, you'll be reading through the slides 16 to 18, for instructions to the learning task. The learning task can be submitted as a Google Slides presentation in Google Classroom assignments. If you have any questions, please let me know. Otherwise, smash into the video lecture. Cool, let's just get stuck into the slides. Cool. So the lesson you'll be completing is a learning test demonstrating your understanding of the key economic concepts and terminology we've examined. The terms to include economics, goods, services, producers, consumers, scarcity, and opportunity risk costs. So 7 key terms there. The visual glossary will need to include a definition, an example, a related image for each economics term. Your learning test it'll be kind of like a little mini slideshow. So each slide will have one term on it. So let's say I'm looking at goods. It'll say goods at the start of the slide. It'll give me a definition of what a good is. It'll give me an example of what a good might be, so an iPhone or something. And I might have a related image. So it could be a literal picture of an iPhone, or a picture of a cheeseburger, or a picture of a hat. These are all goods. An example is included in the next slide. I quite like these little visual glossaries as little kind of like revision tools, little study tools. It's a bit more interesting than just writing out definitions in your workbook or just reading them out of the back of a textbook. It's something that you can personalize. The image can be just some random photo you got off the internet, or it could be something that relates specifically to you. So for producer, I might put a picture of my uncle, who is a baker. So he owns a bakery, and that might be a good way for me to remember that term, because it's something that I personally would remember. Be like, oh, Uncle Tony, bakery, easy, producer. Anyway, so that's what we're working on today. Example slide. So it's not economics related, obviously, but I've got my key term there, sport. I've got definition. So a game, competition, or activity using physical effort and skill. 1 or 2 sentences is all you need for the definition. So even though it's 7 terms, you're not doing much. You're not doing too much this lesson, hopefully. An example of a sport would be basketball. Image of a sport would be obviously Mr. Tapley playing basketball over the school holidays. There's no need to look behind that face I've put on there. That's definitely me. And yeah, so that's what we'll be doing for our little visual glossary learning task. Now, where am I going to put this though? In the past, you guys, term 1, you've gone to learning tasks, you've uploaded little assignments there, you've given them to me physically. Can't do that today. So what we'll be doing in term 2, hopefully, is I'm just in your little Google Classroom at the moment, or in 7F3. I always go to 7F3. Let's go for 74. Let's show I'm not playing favorites. So that's 74. You start off on your homepage, your stream, your newsfeed, whatever you want to call it. This is where I'll be putting little announcements, and you guys can actually jump in and share something with the class. If you have a question that you think everyone else might have, be like, Mr. Tapley, video's not working, or Mr. Tapley, your headset looks stupid, something like that. You can put that in there, and then I can respond to it, and everyone will be able to see it. But anyway, you'll also have a classwork tab. Looks a bit different on my screen because I've got the teacher version of it, obviously, but you'll have a classwork tab where you'll be able to find the PowerPoint under resources, and you'll also be able to find the assignments. So your digital notebook, you don't actually have to hand that in every lesson. I've actually had some of my year 9s and year 10s do that. You don't need to hand it in. It's not an assignment. It's just somewhere where you can put your work every lesson, and I can kind of keep track of it. Just make sure that you are working on it, paying attention every lesson. So don't submit it, because if you submit it, you lose access to that notebook, and I have to like re-add you to it. So don't worry about that. Anyway, the assignment we are looking for, though, Sem1 learning task, economics visual glossary. So you guys will have that in your classwork tab. You can see the instructions there. I've got the key terms, what you need to do for the visual glossary. If you click on the rubric, boop, you can see that I'm grading it as a high to a low, but I've also got very high, very low, medium. So that's the grading scale that I'll be looking at. And then in terms of view assignments, you guys will just need to click on this assignment. Again, it'll look slightly different for me, but you'll be able to press a little button that says like hand it in or turn it in or submit, and you can just upload a little file there. And what you'll want to do is just create a brand new Google Slides presentation. I'd chuck your name on the front just for the hell of it, and then I'd make a new slide. And let's say the slide I'm looking at producer, definition, etc., etc., etc. So that's what you'll be doing for the Sem1 learning task, economics visual glossary. If you have any questions about how to submit to Google Classroom, if you're having technical difficulties, if you're having content difficulties because we're going through this too quickly, or you just don't quite understand something, do please let me know, and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. The important thing to point out, which you guys are probably shouting at, the due date. I have put the due dates in the slides, and I've also put the due date on the learning task in Google Classroom. So if you click on it, it'll say, this is the title, these are the instructions, and here's the due date. Once that goes out of the way, the due date is the 24th, so it's next Friday. So week 2, next Friday, the 24th of April, 5 p.m. I think I've got it set for. So although I'm giving you the full lesson to work on this, and some of you will probably finish this in one lesson, if you don't finish it at the end of the lesson, just like assignments at school in term 1, if you didn't finish in a class, it becomes homework, but I'm going to give you until the end of the week. So it's not going to be due the second lesson of week 2, it'll be due Friday. Cool. So 24th of April, which is on Friday. And again, if I go back to here, does it give me the assignment due date? It will for the student version. I don't know if I can actually see it as a little teacher man. Anyway, but it does have the due date on there, I promise. And yeah, if you guys have any questions, please let me know. I think I've covered everything in this little video here, but if not, just throw us an email or put something into the Google stream, the Classroom stream, so everyone else can see your question. And yeah, thanks guys. Good luck. Cheers.